Hi, I'm David from Levika Photography, and today we're going to talk about the Sigma art lenses, in particular the 60mm f2.8 DN lens. Now, this was the first lens that I got for this camera, so I've had this for probably, 8 months now, and this lens is very, very interesting. Okay, first off, let's talk about the build quality. Plastic front, cheap aluminum for the focus ring, and aluminum at a higher grade towards the base, and then your actual mount. All is good. Not very exciting, but the reason why I say this is cheap aluminum is this scratch is really easy in the silver model. Now on the black it's probably fine. And then they make a black one with a rubber grip, and that's the one that I would try to find if I could find it. But yeah, this one, if you look at it really closely, it is scratched to death. I mean, all over the place. But now let's talk about the highlights of this lens. Actually, no, let's talk about the image quality first, or the build quality. It's good, but you hear that? What the hell is that? That had me really concerned when I pulled it out of the box for the very first time. I was like, oh my god, that's the focus motor flopping around in there. But apparently the way it's designed, it doesn't need to be mounted down in a certain way. And for what this lens can do, I totally forgive that. Okay, so this is not a macro lens, by the way. This is your what I would call your short telephoto portrait lens. It's the equivalent of 90mm, and close focusing, it only gets down to about 1 foot 7 inches. That's not real close. But where it pays off is in the image quality. So let's go check this out. This is the high-speed focus test in kind of low light. Alright, so from Murray to the keyboard, to the CD case, to the books behind me, to the carpet, back to Murray. Cool, I'm getting a glare. Okay, over to the keyboard. I don't mean a glare on the lens, I just mean the cat's glaring at me like, what the hell are you doing? Okay, back to the CD rack, back to the books. Now in here right now there's only 2 CFL bulbs in the office that are actually on. It's fairly dark outside. It's ISO 1600, and I would have to say there's the camera bag. Boom. Let's go to the edge of the camera bag, back to the front edge of the camera bag, back over to Murray. We're at ISO 1600 at 30 frames per second at f2.8, and you can see how fast this lens actually focuses in on everything. Alright, so the bench, 5 feet away, 3 feet away, 2 feet away, 3 feet away, about 10 feet away, 20 feet away, 3 feet away. Very smooth autofocus. Pretty much anywhere you want to put it, it'll just come in just fine. Right, back to the light, back across the street, back to our headlight. Alright, so let's take a look at a few images really quick. f2.8 JPEG. This is my assistant Allison, and you know, this is shot in JPEG mode, and you know, very sharp, very clean depth of field, almost no lens flaring. If you look right there, hardly anything. But what I wanted to look at in this video, or in this photo, were the actual circles in the bokeh blur. Now I thought the glass cases would sparkle more than this, and that's why I shot the photo. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of sparkle here, but what we are seeing are very clean circular
lens flares, and that's due to a curved 7-bladed aperture. Okay, so f5.6 shooting foliage. This is always a big deal with any lens. Foliage holds ultraviolet light, and you know, the sky against it, it creates a it just makes your lens flare dramatically. And you know, every lens is going to flare when you shoot foliage. It doesn't matter what it is. There's no such thing as a lens not flaring, but it's how much. And right here, this little tiny bit, and right here, we have 2 lines. That is it in this entire photo of lens flaring. So the flare control of this lens is absolutely phenomenal. And this lens was shot at f5.6, which is the sweet spot of all Sony E-mount lenses. Now, I'm not saying this is a Sony lens, I'm just saying the E-mount lenses. f5.6 is the sweet spot of everything, just so you know. Okay, so this particular shot right here, this one was done at f11, I believe. Okay, let's take a quick look. Very sharp, edge to edge, excellent deep depth of field at f11. So the building in the background is completely in focus. You can see the necklace in the window at 400%. Let's just take a look at that. And the wreath on the very back pillar. Now, to put this in perspective, let's go all the way out to fit the screen. That's over there. I mean, that is really good. Corner to corner, very sharp. Okay, so let's go to Bob here, and I just wanted to show you guys this photo really quick. This is just a little bit of flash fill portrait. This is f8, and f8 on this lens doing portrait work is actually not bad because you get the whole head in focus. And that's pretty much where you need to shoot if you want the entire head in focus. Look at the detail that's in his glasses. You know, you can see the dust sitting on the glasses. His hair is extremely sharp. Absolutely amazing skin. If we go out to 100% here, you know, the detail is just excellent. Look at the fabric on his shirt. Let me go back to fit to window. So again, you know, it has a nice bokeh blur, even though this was actually shot at f8. Okay, f2.8, same location. This is a little different. So right here, the very center of his forehead and the tip of his nose, and the outer edge and his ears coming along here, and his shoulders are out of focus. The area that's in focus is right through here. And you know, this is really typical of a good lens. Now, this is shot wide open, no flash fill. Again, we've got very clean lens flares going on there that you want to happen, or sorry, circular lens flares that you want to happen. If we zoom in at 100%, again, really good skin tones. This was also shot in JPEG again. I should have shot this in RAW. You'd see a little bit more detail in it. But overall, extremely sharp, wide open, very clean. Alright, so let's take a look at a landscape at f2.8. And again, we've got, now this is at f2.8, mind you. This is the lower corner, upper corner, other corner, and lower left. Okay, so when I focus, I'm focusing in usually in here. This is what I'm hitting with the autofocus. Sometimes this tree, but you know, basically this general area in here. Now, obviously at f2.8, it's very sharp, very clean image. It feels very solid. No chromatic aberrations at all whatsoever. Very sharp, edge to edge. In even landscape mode, you know, you have a little bit of blurriness back here, but overall, the area that we're shooting for seems to be very much in focus. So it does an excellent job at f2.8. Again, f2.8 in a low light scenario. Now this is Kato. Now if you guys watched the video of the Sony OSS 35mm f1.8, you saw what these whiskers were doing, and it was getting really weird. Although, you know, that lens is still a good lens, but this lens, this is what a controlled whisker blur should look like, not what that lens was creating. But very sharp in the areas that you want in focus. Just look at the nose, and this was shot at ISO 400, so we've got a little bit of grain in here. And I'm sure this would go away if I converted it. We're just looking at the raw file right now.
I'm going to go right back and say it. I love this lens. This lens is extremely sharp. It is not the sharpest lens on the planet, but on this camera body, you know, being able to resolve at 3400 lines all the way across is phenomenal. Extremely low lens flaring, if almost non-existent. Sometimes you can, you know, if you're in a good situation, there's nothing. In your worst situation, there's 1 pixel of flaring. That's hardly anything. Almost no CAs. No vignetting. It's just insanely sharp all the way across. A very tiny bit of barrel distortion, but again, not even noticeable. I mean, if you turn off the lens correction in this, it's really good. Insanely fast autofocus. Sigma motors, I believe, are faster than Sony's. So I think that these art lenses actually autofocus faster than actual Sony lenses. And, you know, everybody that owns this camera should own this lens. This, hands down, is the sharpest thing that I put on here edge to edge. I've seen a couple of lenses that are slightly sharper in the center, but they're just crap, wide open, and, you know, pointless. And they don't hold up in the corners, but this thing is solid all the way through. Excellent at f2.8, excellent at f16, and really good at f5.6. I mean, just nothing short of phenomenal. Like I said, the build quality is a little questionable, but the reliability is excellent. If you guys know how much I shoot, this particular lens right here has probably done 30,000 photos without a hitch. And it's still insanely fast. So, you know, with that being said, I hope you guys like my videos. Leave some comments, click on the ads, that helps me down the road. And you guys have a good day. We'll talk to you later.